is so disorganized. They are so unfocused. This is not a wrestling program anymore. It's a ratings program, and they're just going to do whatever they think will get ratings, whether it's blood, whether it's a porno show, whether it's a lingerie show, whether it's a lockbox match. They're going to do whatever they can just to get ratings, and it's pathetic because the reason the ratings are so low right now is because you didn't do the right thing in the first place. You weren't focusing on your product, on your wrestlers, on the organization, on the storyline, on the booking. It's simple, man. Booking wrestling is not rocket science. It's not that hard, okay? I almost want to get up and just walk away. I didn't review TNA Impact. I know this review's all over the place. I'm sorry. I didn't review TNA Impact last week because I would have given it an F. And I didn't want to do that. I feel bad for TNA. They need to be successful. We want 2 wrestling programs. We want 2 great shows going at it. And we're not getting it. Not only are we not getting it, we're not even getting that second wrestling program. TNA Impact is no longer a wrestling program. They're doing their last 10 minutes of their show. They don't have wrestling main events. They have women opening lockboxes for titles. That's not wrestling. Anyway, the rest of the show, they were cutting the commercials a lot. They had some quick cuts to commercials. Looks like they had some timing problems they should work on, but you know, that happens. Work on that a little bit. Angle versus Anderson, great. We've seen that already a few times. They had a good match, but again, you know, time to wrap that one up. They had a nice little feud for 2 or 3 months, but it's time to call that one quits. Angle is not being done any service in that feud. Angle is not getting over. He should be used so much better than just to put him in a simple feud. Give TNA credit for one thing. At least they have kept the Angle-Anderson angle. They've kept the Anderson-Angle, and they've kept it simple. You know, they've just been doing the basic one-on-one booking with that, and then they've been going wild everywhere else. So at least they've been consistent, but time to wrap that program up. It was okay. I thought that feud was pretty decent. I liked it, but, you know, is it going to bring in viewers? Is it going to raise ratings? No. And if anything, it's probably hurting Kurt Angle right now, and I don't know how much it's actually helping Mr. Anderson. So that feud needs to end, and Kurt Angle needs to do something much better and much different. Matt Morgan, said he is going to be the tag team champions by himself. So that just tells you what TNA thinks of their titles. That just tells you what they think of their championship belts. When a wrestler can take the tag team belts and defend them by himself, that shouldn't even be allowed, really. If this was a real sport and you had a booking committee in the back, they wouldn't allow it. So why are we allowing that to happen? Because Vince Russo uses his titles as props. This is going to be just a gimmick, you know, to show Matt Morgan can get over 2-on-1 in tag team matches. That's how strong and how tough he is. Great, but now you've completely wasted the tag team titles. So in one show, you dump the tag titles in the trash, you dump the Knockouts title in the trash. AJ Styles loses just about every other week, but somehow he still has the title. So that title is in the trash. Rob Terry wrestles every week, but you never even talk about him or the global title, so that title is in the trash. What more can you say about this Impact? What more can you say about the direction TNA has taken? I do not blame Hulk Hogan or Eric Bischoff for any of this. They are not bookers, and the main problem with TNA right now is the writing, it is the booking, it is the storylines. That's it. Things get worse. Things get worse on Impact. Team 3D was out to take on the Motor City Machine Guns. Winner was to get a title shot. Okay, 2 tag teams. That's how it should be done. And out comes the Wolfpack. The Wolfpack actually came out, ruined the match, did a run-in like they used to do in WCW back in those days, and just totally screwed the match. Then we hear, you know, 3D's upset and they want a match with the Wolfpack next week, aka tomorrow, because Impact is taped. So we got 3D versus the Wolfpack as the main event next week. I guess TNA didn't learn last week when they got a 0.6 rating when RVD and Jeff Hardy, who can pull better ratings than the Dudleys, took on the Wolfpack. The Wolfpack should not be in the main event right now. They have no business there. I know they're doing something with all of them. You don't have to be a genius to figure out, you know, Hulk Hogan's probably in on it, Bischoff's probably in on it, you know. There's going to be something big going on at Lockdown, and we're going to see, you know, where everyone stands. Hopefully, then this show will get on the road and we'll see some organization, because we're not seeing it. We're not seeing it at all. Team 3D's with the Nasty Boys. Team 3D's jumping around to the Motor City Machine Guns. Now they got a problem with the Wolfpack. Last week the Wolfpack had a problem with Jeff Hardy and RVD. Now suddenly they just don't like the Dudley Boys. So they're throwing everyone around over here, over there, and it doesn't really make any sense. The Pope took on Desmond Wolfe. That was a good match. But again, the Pope has a match coming up with AJ. They did a run-in by AJ, but that's not much. You really should base your whole card, or at least most of your show, on that heavyweight title in your heavyweight title match, AJ versus Pope. But they're not selling it, and they're not focusing in on it at all. So the good from Impact tonight, not much, but there was some good wrestling. Angle versus Anderson was solid. That was a pretty good match. It was a ladder match. That was nice. And RVD versus James Storm was also very, very good. The rest of the wrestling was okay or mediocre. That was the good, and that was all the good. The bad, the ending. The worst ending in wrestling history. I can't say anything else about that ending. That ending was terrible. That's not wrestling. That's a clear attempt by TNA just to grab for ratings by showing some boobies, showing some girls, you know. Porn's on the internet, guys. If you want to look at girls naked, it's on the internet for you, available anytime you want. When I watch my wrestling, I'm watching it for wrestling. I want to feel like I'm watching a sport. I want to feel like it's real. Don't treat me like it's some stupid game and I'm some 50-year-old guy sitting on the couch with potato chips and beer, off to some a striptease by Lacey Von Erich. That's not how you build a wrestling program. And even if it gets a cheap pop, even if it gets a little bit higher of a rating, it does nothing for them. It builds up none of their storylines. It furthers none of their championships. Furthers nothing, does nothing for any of the wrestlers who could actually make money if they put time investing in those wrestlers to become something, to become a Rock, to become an Austin, to become a character that people identify with and like. So the ending was terrible. Disorganized all over the place. Again, 3Ds over here. Now they're feuding with the Wolfpack for no reason. The Wolfpack was feuding with Team Hogan. Oh, they still got a problem with Team Hogan, but they're going to go mess with 3D. I don't know. All over the place. Beer Money was working for Bischoff. Now Beer Money apparently is working for Flair. Are they together? Very disorganized. Continues. The storylines. What do we know going into Lockbox? AJ's taking on Pope for the title. Team Hogan versus Team Flair. Why is Team Hogan wrestling Team Flair? Because Team Flair is mad at Team Hogan? Because it's Hulk Hogan? And Team Hogan's mad at Team Flair? Because it's Ric Flair? There's no storyline there. There's no reason for these wrestlers to even dislike each other. He said Sting went over to the dark side. Jarrett said that. How? What did he do? Because he doesn't like Hogan? I don't know. It was disorganized. It was terrible. And the build for hour number 2, you would think that they didn't even have a second hour. You would have thought Impact was going off the air at 9 o'clock. They didn't hype a main event. They didn't have anything to get the fans into hour number 2. I don't think you were going to keep viewers by telling them the Lockbox picking was coming up and there could be a striptease. I know that's what that was the plan. We're going to get big ratings by, teasing strippers, stripping. Our wrestlers are going to strip. That's how desperate they've gotten. That's how bad it's gotten in TNA. I have nothing more to say about TNA. You want to know what grade I'm giving this TNA Impact? You already know. This TNA Impact was an F. This was one of the worst TNA Impacts I've seen, but last week was a little worse. These were both F shows, okay? No good storylines, no interesting characters, no character development, disorganization, and a pornographic ending. What more can I say about TNA Impact tonight? I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. It started off well enough, but it turned into complete crap. That is not wrestling. That was not a wrestling program. I am the biggest Hulk Hogan fan in the world, guys. Big Al here, okay? I've been watching Hulk Hogan since I was 8 years old, back in the 80s. I still support Hulk Hogan 150%. So when I'm telling you that TNA Impact tonight was an F, you better take it seriously. That was not a good show at all. Hopefully they do better next week. We'll see you then. I hope I didn't upset too many of my TNA Impact fans. I like Impact. I want them to be successful. But it's not going to happen with shows like that. I'm Big Al, and this has been your TNA Impact review.